Alright, hey everyone. Thank you for joining. This is going to be quite a special episode, mainly because BannerBox just came out. I've been working on this theme for quite a while. I would say in and out for about a year. And it's finally out, and I'm assuming that you're either watching the stream or you're watching this on YouTube because you downloaded BannerBox and you want to learn how to make your own banners. So I did make it easy to do that. So if you don't know, BannerBox here is a theme for LaunchBox. And I'm assuming that's why you guys are watching. And you can go to the forums, and there's only really a few things that you need to get before you can start making your own banners. I tried to put it together in a way that made it very simple for people to create banners for their own library. There was many challenges for this theme, and one being that LaunchBox can only use one image at a time for their wheels, and that's why we had to create banners to begin with. And then the challenge was, well, if we have to create a banner for every single game, how do you do that without going insane? And so that's why this theme sort of just took a long time to do, was just sort of to solve that. Well, one person can't create a banner for every game. You would kind of go insane. And I initially started doing that in Photoshop, creating a banner for every single one of my NES games and then every single one of my, Genesis games. And then I realized if you wanted to make minute changes, you couldn't. Let's get into this though, because I know you guys want to learn. First thing that you need, you'll go to the LaunchBox forums and you'll want to check third-party apps and plugins. You will find the community theme creator, so you're going to need this program. The version that's out now and the versions that'll be out in the future will have what you need. So whichever version it is now, just click the download. I'll download a fresh copy just so that everyone can see how it works. What I will do is I will just place a brand new copy here on my D drive. Let's do that. Okay, so we have it downloaded. There it is. It's possible that you might need to let's take a look. So it's probably downloaded wherever the downloads is. You might have to right click it, go to properties, right here. So security, this file came from another computer, it might be blocked. You need to unblock it. So just hit apply, done. Now I'm gonna have it open twice. Now let's just place it right here. So community theme creator. Alright, step one is done. Second thing that you need is my templates. So inside of community theme creator, you'll see my theme projects. Let's just open that up. There's one that comes with this creator so that you can look over it. Y2 Guru added that. So for that, we have to go back to my BannerBox theme. So we'll go to Big Box Custom Themes, and we'll look for BannerBox. We'll go to download this file, and we're looking for BannerBox template, create your own banners. We'll download this file. The reason why it's 100 megs is because I included a pack of, I believe it was devices, systems pack, so that you could create your own platform logos more easily. We'll open this up and we'll place it right in here. So why did I download the theme creator? The community theme creator is mainly to create themes. That's what its existence is, but it also has a few other functions that are really neat. One being it has the ability to create custom images of any kind grab bindings just like a theme would. So I could say place a box art here, and then it would know for NES, it would show all of the different NES games and all the box art that you already automatically have, and then bulk generate an image based on your preference, your template, and you'll have like all of your NES games created within minutes, and you can have your whole library created within, who knows, 20-30 minutes, depending on how many games you have. You just click a button and let it go. Let's take a look how it works. So the first time you open it, you'll see this view. I'm just going to type fair in. You'll need to point to a big box path. So this is just going to link to your LaunchBox and be able to read your library of games. You don't have to do anything else. Just I'm just going to go into where I have my big box located and then press OK. It creates a settings text file with those settings, and this is what you'll see the first time you open it. Okay, so at the very top, right here, this is where BannerBox custom images, that's the name of my theme. This is where the name of the theme is. If you do a drop down, there's that other theme that came with this version. You might have to switch to BannerBox custom themes. Next thing you'll notice is that it lists the different categories, playlists, platforms, categories, arcade. It basically lists all of the platforms, since I'm in that view, that I have on this version of LaunchBox. And down here, this is where we switch from theme creator mode to custom images mode. So if I click this, all of a sudden, I have loaded here two themes, two custom images, one for platforms, one for game custom images, so games. So let's go to games, because this is the more important one here. So what you can see is by default, let's switch to like NES for example. By default, it already works. It will show all of your themes, and it has all of the default settings that I used when I built my custom images. It's exactly the same thing. As long as you have box art, as long as you have logos. What I found was when I started using this was, even though I thought I had everything, I realized that there was these small holes in like my logo pack or my box art pack that you didn't even notice before. And you start generating these images, and all of a sudden images were missing, and I spent a lot of time gathering the right logos, gathering box art. Sometimes I had to create my own logos just to fill in like the odd game that I had missing in my library, and just to have a complete set of these. So it really forced me to really become complete in my library, whereas before I kind of tried to get LaunchBox or Emu Movies to do it, and didn't quite go through the thousands of games that I had like I did once I had this. So at this point, if all you wanted to do was create these games, then you would just click here, go to render custom images. Now because I'm in NES, I can choose all games for selected platforms. Therefore it's going to run through the 770 odd games, and it would complete. I can just do this one game, generate an image for this one game, or I could do all my games for my entire library with one click. Sounds simple enough. Let's see what it looks like for a little bit. Let's look at platform. I clicked it. Now I just let it go. You can see it's 774 down here images. It keeps track of how many images it's done. You can see every single one that it goes through. You want to visually inspect it, but that's pretty much it. Now it's going to save. Let's cancel that. So in that time it did like 50 some odd images. Where is it saving it to? So let's go back to this community theme creator. If I go back into my theme projects in the BannerBox custom images folder, you're going to need to go into custom images, custom images 1, because that's the one that I saved it to, you can see you have the ability to create lots of custom images. I believe it's 9 platform, 9 game images per theme, and you can have unlimited themes. So it's really, you have no limit. Okay, custom images 1 in games, it categorizes them all automatically into platform folders, and in there you can see that there are my images. Let's bring it over. That's what it looks like. We can cycle through them. They look great. Cool. So why do they have numbers? Well, that's an interesting question. At first they didn't have numbers. At first, when this was all created, they had we had used just the name of the game, which sounds good, right? We did the name of the game, and I generated thousands of images, and then realized the names of the games in the LaunchBox database changes over time. Like all of a sudden they introduce a new name for a game. A good example would be Adventure Island. Before, it used to be Hudson's Adventure Island, and then they switched it to just Adventure Island. So there's all these different names, and it happens more often than you would think. Tons of just different names that happen depending on when you downloaded the metadata from the LaunchBox database. And how could I possibly cover all the different variations? Whereas the LaunchBox ID is something that never changes. So as long as, and that's what these numbers are, as long as the game is within the LaunchBox database, then you should be okay. Now, in saying that, the way my understanding is that it will choose the LaunchBox ID first off, and then it will choose it'll pick the name of the game if it can't find or it doesn't have a LaunchBox ID. So you're covered either way, really, with your own library. Now, where does the community theme creator get these LaunchBox IDs? What you'll want to do is, actually, I'm just gonna open up my it takes it from, I'm gonna open up LaunchBox here. It takes it from a file called metadata.xml, and that file is located in your LaunchBox folder inside of a metadata folder, I believe. Let's just see if I can find it quickly. You have an idea of where it's getting. So it's metadata folder inside of here, I think. Yeah, so right here, metadata.xml. That file contains essentially the whole database that's on the LaunchBox database, a games database, in a giant file. And that's why every now and then you'll find that it asks you if you want to update LaunchBox, the new updates to the LaunchBox database, and then you probably hit yes, and then it does its thing. It's basically downloading all the information and putting it inside this file, and then Community Theme Creator reads this file and then is able to generate the LaunchBox IDs from it. So if you want to make sure before you do anything that you have the most updated metadata file, of course here, let me see what's going on here. Alright, so let's open LaunchBox. There you go. There's a way to force that setting. So before you create your images, let's just make sure, as a precautionary step here, that you go to help, and you can say force update games database metadata. So if I click that button, it's going to refresh, download the most up-to-date information, and then I don't have to worry that maybe a game or something is not in the database. You'll also, this is also something that I found, is when I imported my games initially, a lot of games were not exactly the correct spelling, and then LaunchBox database had a hard time recognizing it. And then when I actually audited my games, so if I went in here, let's say, go back to platform, let's go to a small one. Let's just go to 64, Nintendo 64, and I audited my games. At the very end of the audit, you see that you can see all your LaunchBox database IDs. So it's a good practice to just look through them and just see, like, did I actually connect this game to the LaunchBox database? Because if you don't, then you're kind of missing some stuff. You're missing like all of the metadata that comes with it, and then when you see it in big box, you're not going to really get the full experience that you should be getting. This kind of really forces you to clean up your library. That's sort of what I'm getting at here. So anyway, all optional steps. So let's take a look here. Let's look closer at what exactly is going on. I'm gonna hit edit view, and you can see here that there's always going to be a background. That's just, I set how the width and height of the canvas. That's all that's for. That's already done for you, so you don't have to worry about that. Up here, you can see there's not that many elements. The way that I accomplish this is that I have a background. Yes, everybody can see the blue background. Then I also have an overlay, and that's where this highlight comes in, as well as a bunch of shadowing that's sort of subtle and makes the middle of the image appear brighter than the sides of the image. You can tell the difference here if I just take this opacity. Now it's sort of like the box art just kind of looks more flat and less depth to it. Right? And if I bring it back, and same with the logo, if I bring it back, all of a sudden, oop, that didn't come back, did it? There it goes. So you can see that it came back, and it sort of darkened the sides, and it darkened the and it made the middle seem like it had more depth there. And all that I did was add a box art and add a clear logo. So if all you wanted to do was just have the default setting, you don't really have to do much, but you could see that you have the ability to make whatever banner that you want. So for example, I could sit here and say, well, I liked having, oh, maybe you wanted to have the release date right on, oh, that's a bad example. Maybe you wanted to have fan art. Let's say I go image, and I just sort of center everything. I go to metadata, and you can see you can have lots of different image types be right on the image if you want. Let's add a screenshot. And you can place it down at the bottom, or actually this is a not the greatest example, but here, let's put it in the middle here. You can see I can just move it around, and with these smart guides I can get it straight into the middle right there using this. And then if I just save that, see, as I change the game, it just picks the screenshot of that appropriate game. So then you can just generate your images like that. Or you can go crazy. You can take this theme and create any type of banner that you want, as long as you know that, this area, the controller will appear in this area, the release date will appear, and so forth. Just stay into the confines of that and do whatever you want. Like initially, I had taken the box art and really went crazy with it. Did something like this. Let's get rid of this. I didn't end up using it. Something like this anyway. It like zoomed in really far. And just sort of did something like that. I don't know, if you wanted to do that, save that. All of a sudden, you know, all you have something completely different. Okay. So let's bring this back to the middle here. There are more things that you can do, more control after all of that. So a couple things that you'll want to keep in mind. Just leave that as 550. First thing that you want to keep in mind is that I had to figure out a way to tackle a horizontal box art. For example, Super Nintendo, perfect example. You could see some things that are wrong. What you'll need to do is this. Let's say you wanted to create your own Super Nintendo. If you want to do what I did, what you could do here is you can see that there's theme, platform, and game. Well, what are these? Theme means that every single platform will adhere to this template that I created. But like Super Nintendo, I want to change Super Nintendo without affecting the rest of my platforms. Well, I can right-click theme, go to platform, paste that same theme in here, and now if I edit just this platform, it will only edit what the Super Nintendo settings are for Super Nintendo. It'll only edit it for Super Nintendo. So let's edit it. The changes that I made, if you wanted to do the same thing, is this overlay. You come down here, I'm within the custom image assets folder, and that there's actually 3 overlays. One's called overlay horizontal, and one's called overlay advanced. So horizontal is sort of like brings the highlight up, so you can see it sort of cuts it here, so it's more for a horizontal box art. Advance is more for like that middle ground box art, like the Game Boy Advance, that's sort of in between the regular overlay and this horizontal overlay, and it's just slightly too long for this horizontal one. Alright, so I did that, and then I thought, well, what could I do with this space? So what I ended up doing was creating a second box art. So I went to image, created a second box art, metadata, and where's the game box art? And faded it out, 40%, and I added a blur. Ooh, that's way too much. I added maybe 8. I put it on the top. I should have it on the top. And I brought it under the box art. Let's make it even bigger. It's something like that. Maybe more blur. About 12. So that's what I did, and I generated all the images like this. You hit save, and then when it does render, when you do choose render all the games for the selected platform, it actually the task sequence is that it first finds it, sees if there's a game template. If there's not, it'll choose the platform template. If not, then it'll choose the theme template. That's how that works. So in saying that, let's say you don't have, maybe you don't like this one, this particular game, you do have the ability to create another template and just choose and just edit that particular game and make it whatever that you want. I'm saying all of this, you don't have to worry about, if you're wanting to get creative, get creative. Go find a box. Don't even use the box art. Use whatever you want, and the theme will adhere to whatever images that you want. But in this case, if you just follow these recommendations, it will fill in the gaps to your particular library, and you'll be able to just have all the games that you want. Last thing, let's look at a platform. So what I did was, just so that everyone knows, let's look at NES. NES is the only one that has the background. So you can see it has the background in there. Let's go in here. So I'll just kind of show you what you would need to do to create your own. It has the exact same format, but it uses your clear logos that you have in your system. So this is the clear logos I have in my LaunchBox. It uses the pack of system art that I have within this folder, platform system, and then it uses this top image within a folder called platform top image. Well, how do you get to those folders? Just click the browse button here, and there you go. So there's the platform top image, and there's the platform systems inside of here. You see all the systems are the name of the system, exactly how you have it in LaunchBox. LaunchBox does have a naming convention, so it's best if you follow that. You can see here, if I were to set up a game, go into anything really. This screen right here, what platforms are you importing? Well, this drop-down menu has all the names of the systems that you should be using. You might, the idea is that you could type in something manually if you want, and if you want to do that, that's great. But since it's not following the LaunchBox conventions, a lot of themes and a lot of things won't work properly for you. For example, Sega Genesis, or a lot of people use SNES or Super SNES, but really LaunchBox should read Super Nintendo Entertainment System. That's the way it is. So the file in here would read Super Nintendo Entertainment System.png. Same goes with the platform top images. It's just Super Nintendo Entertainment System is the name of the platform. You dump all of your files in here. Hey, Scano, how are you doing? Oh yeah, so that is true. Everything's in English, obviously, since I am from North America. But file names, yeah, I guess for everyone that has a different language and you're using themes, you will have to rename stuff like that. Maybe you have different names for system. Are there different names for platform systems in Italy, or I don't know, different parts in the world? I know Sega had a lot of different names for their systems, but just in general, I don't know if there's language translation of like a system. Ah, you got Europa instead of Europe. Yeah, so that's true. I think that's true with pretty much everything that needs to use like file images and images like that. Which is why when you're theme developing, you kind of have to weigh the pros and cons. Because I could just use text and then that gets rid of that problem, or I can just use like not like an image, but then of course that introduces more problems and all sorts of like things you have to weigh pros and cons of. That's for another stream though. But yeah, that's where all the files need to go. Now for platform images, you will I know that you will have to edit each platform individually. You would have to sit here and you would have to, let's say, go to Virtual Boy, and you can see it just doesn't look right, and you would have to I would have to copy the regular theme, paste it into the platform, and then create like a platform specific template just for Virtual Boy. You know, adjust this to something or other, and play around with the image, and then put a top image there, and you know, that's what you have to do. Save that, and then you'd be good to go. Okay, so that pretty much covers it for me. Did you have any question, Scano? Since you seem to be the only one on the stream. Or anybody else that may or may not be lurking in the background. This is the time to ask. I'm pretty much done. The only other thing that I could add, because I know there's been some debate on file size, and yes, this is what this theme had to do. This is sort of weighs pros and cons. I've been tinkering with this for like a year, so yeah, I weighed the pros and cons of using custom images to begin with. Should we just use the regular images that we already have, or had to create something new? And this is what I chose. The only way this theme works. But what I did was I spent a lot of time researching different ways to compress the images, and I found a program called, I've been using this program. Simple. I don't know if it's PNGoo or PNGOO. I just like drag and drop the files in here. They output to the same directory, and then just hit go, and then it would just it compresses PNG files. It's like doing like 70% compression, which was crazy. And I did that to every single image, just to reduce the file size. And then when I was trying to release the theme, it was too large to fit onto the forums and onto the LaunchBox or the big box theme manager. So I had to reduce it to under 2 gigs. So I removed a bunch of systems and released them later onto the forum. But I think it's just easier if you guys create this or download all of this, follow this video, and create your own for your own particular library. What I've done and what I will do, did I do this yet? I did not do this yet, but what I'll do is I'll be just releasing on the forums sort of like a big BannerBox base download that comes with no images at all, and then you can create your own images just for your particular build. It should reduce the file size, as long as and if you're worried, you can always compress it later. People are talking about converting them to JPEGs. Yeah, you can reduce the quality of the JPEG to virtually nothing if you want to. And if you go that route, there are programs out there that will do that. Someone listed some. If you're wanting to do command line, there's a program called Image Magic, and if you learn that program, then you can convert hundreds of banners in seconds. I think I did 550 banners. It took like 5 seconds to convert them to JPEGs and reduce the quality to whatever. So just different options. Well, thank you for joining, Scano. If you don't have any other questions, anything, even if it's not related to BannerBox. Now, what happens in 4K resolution? That's a good question. I built this theme using the community theme creator, and the way that it's created, so all themes, they don't really adhere to all the different resolutions, like even like from, let's say, 1080p to 4K, and it's very hard to get something that looks the same in all those different resolutions. And a lot of things are not possible, but Y2Guru spent a lot of time on his creator to do it automatically. So it's supposed to just scale automatically. It's not supposed to be different, but if you use different text scaling, so an example would be here, I've got 1080p, but if you increase the size of your text, it may or may not, it might mess with you, with your functionality. I know that 4K, I believe you would need to put it to 200%, I think by default, something like that. And it should be okay, like at 4K and 200% text, apps, and other items, like the scaling. It should, if there are problems, I'm sure Y2 Guru would want to know about it. It uses all of his custom converters and stuff that he built. So in saying that, this is our final call for questions, or else I'll end this stream, post it on YouTube, and then in about a week and a half, I'll be back actually streaming the creation of another theme. So I've here's a little sneak peek of something that I was working on. This may or may not be the next theme that I use, but has anybody seen this yet? I'll be porting this over live in about a week and a half. This theme, which to me looks amazing, and I'll do it all in the community theme at Creator, and I'll live. Let's see. I'm gonna target April 25th. All right. Thanks a lot, Scano. And thanks a lot, everyone, for watching on YouTube. We'll see you guys later. Take care, everyone.